A Michigan woman goes missing in the Bahamas on a Saturday night, and by Wednesday, her husband's under arrest. And their boat, well, it's named Soulmate. Lynette Hooker was 55 years old. Her and her husband of 25 years, Brian Hooker, 58, was arrested last night, by the Royal Bahamas Police. His lawyer says he's categorically denying all allegations, but the daughter, Lynette's daughter, says she wants a full investigation because her stepdad of 25 years is known to be aggressive when drinking, and recently they had started drinking more. They've been sailing around the world for 10 years. And now the U.S. Coast Guard has opened a criminal investigation. Something about this story isn't sitting right. And I'm going to tell you more about this story, and then we're going to do I Spy with My Third Eye, a remote viewing. So stay tuned, and I'll tell you what I'm seeing in this missing story. But first, let's get the full story. I'll set up my remote viewing and show you and to walk you through as I remote view what I'm seeing. Let's go.
This morning, the husband of Lynette Hooker, the Michigan woman missing after reportedly falling off a boat in the Bahamas, has been taken into custody. Police say they're now questioning 59-year-old Brian Hooker after announcing a criminal investigation. His attorney not elaborating on the case, only saying that Hooker categorically denies the allegations made against him. Hours before his arrest, Hooker released a statement saying, "I am heartbroken over the recent boat accident that caused my beloved Lynette to fall from our small dinghy," adding he made desperate attempts to reach her, and the ongoing search for her is my sole focus. Police say Hooker told them he and Lynette were in an 8-foot dinghy Saturday night on their way to their sailboat when they encountered bad weather and Lynette fell overboard with the key to the boat. Authorities say this.
Okay. Well, let's just think that through right now before we go too farther into this. If the weather was that bad, would you risk going to your boat, or would you just stay back on the mainland and wait for the weather to die down? I don't know. It's curious. It's curious. So he claims he threw this life-preserving piece of flotation overboard. If the weather was that bad, why weren't they wearing their life-preserving jackets? I mean, experienced boaters of a decade would know the conditions were not good to travel in, and therefore either bypass and wait for the storm to die down, or maybe put the life-preserving jacket on. But let's keep listening to the story.
Is the flotation device Brian says he used to try and save his wife. They say he then paddled back to shore and reported her missing at around 4 a.m. Sunday.
4 a.m. Okay, 4 a.m. That's a long time to take we're going to learn, an 8-minute drive from where they left, the marina where they left, to where their boat was. 8 minutes under normal conditions. What time did they leave at that he did not report into the mainland until 4 a.m.? And you're going to hear he didn't report to his stepdaughter, Lynette's daughter, for 24 hours that she was missing. What the dang? Let's keep listening here. Let's keep listening.
My mom.
Whoops.
New clues in the search for the American woman missing in the Bahamas.
Device Brian says he used to try and save his wife. They say he then paddled back to shore and reported her missing at around 4 a.m. Sunday.
My mom and him got married when I was about 4. So he's always been in my life.
Lynette's daughter, Carly, told ABC station WZZM she recently began to have concerns about the couple.
I know they have been drinking more often and problems arise when they drink. They were sober for about a year and a half because they knew about the problems when they drink. And then they started drinking again when they were in Key West. And I had a feeling it was going to start to go downhill after that.
Earlier this week, Carly called for a complete investigation, saying her mother is a good swimmer. In a statement,
Her mother is a good swimmer. It also is really curious to me. Let's read the article where he says he could see Lynette swimming to the shore and he threw her the dinghy. How could he not get there with her? Why wouldn't he put a life preserver on himself and swim after her if he could see her? If she could swim towards shore, wouldn't he be able to swim towards her, towards shore? I don't know. It's just a thought. It's just a thought. Let's keep watching a little bit before we jump into my I spy with my third eye moment here. Let's go.
They drink, and then they started drinking again when they were in Key West. And I had a feeling it was going to start to go downhill after that.
earlier this week, Carly called for a complete investigation, saying her mother is a good swimmer. In a statement to the Daily Beast before his arrest, Brian Hooker denies allegations that his stepdaughter has made about his relationship with his wife. Police in the Bahamas overnight did not share any further details about the case. Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
So here we have the Sailing Hookers TikTok page. They also have a YouTube channel, but here is their last sailing trip posted. I can't play the music, otherwise I'll get a strike. I might have to already take that 5-second clip out. But here they are. Here they are. There's the dinghy in question. And, you know, they're heading in. This is just taken days, 6 days ago. 6 days ago. Today's Thursday. She went missing Saturday. And so let's count the days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So 5 days. So this was taken the day before she went missing, presumably. It's their last TikTok video. So here's the map of where they were traversing to. Okay. What do you think? Small boat. It's a small boat. I'm going to do a little bit more here and then of the story, and then we will we'll run a little bit more of this story, and then I'm going to do my remote session. Let's watch.
New clues in the search for the American woman missing in the Bahamas. Her husband told police she fell overboard. Local police weighing in. Victor Keno's in the Bahamas with the latest. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, George. This search now entering its fourth day. Teams have been pouring over this entire area by air, land, and sea, deploying drones and divers. Still no sign of Lynette Hooker.
This morning, new details about the desperate search for missing American Lynette Hooker. Her husband, Brian Hooker, telling authorities his 55-year-old wife vanished at sea in the Bahamas, falling overboard Saturday night. Overnight, Bahamian police confirming they still consider this a search and rescue operation, revealing efforts so far have spanned land, sea, and sky, using drones, divers, and help from the U.S. Coast Guard.
She could have drifted off because of the strong weather, the strong winds and the strong current.
Lynette's husband telling authorities he and his wife left Elbow Key Saturday evening on an 8.5-foot dinghy to head back to their sailing yacht named Soulmate. But they encountered poor weather. Brian saying his wife fell overboard along with the boat key and the engine shut off. Lynette's daughter, Carly, describing what he told her.
He said that my mom's missing and that she fell out of the boat and that he threw a life jacket to her or something, and he doesn't know if she got it or not. But then he paddled the shore.
Brian making it back to Marsh Harbor, where he reported Lynette missing around 4 a.m. Easter Sunday.
We're on a ferry from Marsh Harbor to Elbow Key. This ride normally takes about 20 minutes. It took Lynette's husband more than 8 hours.
8 hours for what would normally take 20 minutes. 8 hours for what would normally take 20 minutes. Did he not have a cell phone on him where he could call 911? What do you think? What do you think? Let's keep watching here. 8 hours for what would normally take 20
The
minutes.
couple were avid sailors, documenting their travels on social media. Their dinghy seen here. Carly says her mom was fit and a good swimmer. Now, in a statement, she is calling for a full and complete investigation into her disappearance.
I just hope we find her.
I just hope we find her. That is very, very sad. And that's what loving people of all the missing say all the time. Let's watch Ashley Banfield's recording of this because she plays the 911 call. And Ashley knows a lot about boating. Her and I have a lot in common. I grew up on the water, and then we sold the house on the water. My parent, let me backtrack. I grew up on the water, then we had a family cottage on the water, and we sold the home because my parents started to live. It wasn't really a cottage; it had the 3-car garage. It was a house on the water. And then they were across the street from the ocean in Florida for 6 months of the year. So I am also very familiar with the water. My ex-husband's parents used to sail, and we would go down to Kingston and sail as well. I love sailing. But Ashley talks about this key in the kill switch, and I agree. This reporting that she had the key, which is a kill switch, what you put on when you're sea doing, so that if you fall off, the engine stops. That makes no sense on that little dinghy with 2 people. And let's listen to all that. And then I'm going to do my remote viewing. Let's listen into Ashley's.
4 a.m. Here's the voicemail that Brian Hooker left for Carly Aylesworth, his stepdaughter, the daughter of Lynette, who's now missing and maybe presumed drowned at this point. Have a listen. This is what CBS was able to obtain.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Booktown Search and Rescue, and I found a flotation device that I threw to mom when she fell overboard. And so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today. So I just wanted to update you and let you know. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
So
Okay, let me play that again in a slower mode. My apologies. Listening.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Booktown Search and Rescue, and I found a flotation device that I threw to mom when she fell overboard. And so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today. So I just wanted to update you and let you know. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Well, okay. I got questions. That's a very crazy way to inform someone that their mother has not been recovered from falling into the ocean after 24 hours, presumably deceased. That's like sending somebody a text message. I mean, a voicemail. How about a text to say it's urgent, call me? It just and doesn't sound like he's in a panic. I don't know. I'm trying not to jump to conclusions, but then, Ashley talks about the kill switch. Let's listen in here to that. I've been deliberately playing the back end of the clips after I talk, sort of going back to kind of bring it back to where I was. And I so want to play this clip again because it's just such a matter of fact voice message. But it's crazy. Let's keep going here. Let's keep going.
So the last Brian told officials, according to CNN, he saw his wife swimming toward the shore.
They've been boating for a decade. They know how to swim. If they're going back and forth, in little dinghies, you're just not a boater like that without knowing how to swim. And maybe the weather was terrible, but how terrible would the weather have been that you would get in an 8-foot dinghy? I mean, it couldn't have been, 8-foot swells. No way. No chance. So if she's swimming towards shore, unless she's absolutely hammered and gulps water and somehow passes out, and I mean, I guess it's possible. But again, yet another what? Just add that to the pile. Obviously Carly is trying everything she can to, raise the red flag here. They haven't started, as of this recording, this criminal investigation, which I feel like should have started on hour one. The minute I read.
So just to clarify, the beginning of Ashley's reporting was to say, hey, I've just finished this whole podcast only to learn the guy's been arrested. So that's prior to his arrest. So at the beginning of her clip, go watch it. She talks about, okay, here's the update. I'm done my reporting, but now he's been arrested. I mean, there has to be enough suspicion to have arrested him. I wonder what that is. Maybe parts of the story that don't make sense that Ashley's chiming in on. So he says that she was wearing the keys. So if you know anything about boating, like on Sea-Doos, we used to wear them when we Sea-Dooed all the time. The key is on like a floatable, like an elastic pulse thing for the keys that floats, and there's usually a floaty yellow tag on it as well to keep it floating, and you wrap that around your wrist and you put it in the ignition so that when you're sea-dooing or you're alone, when you get bumped off the sea-doo and you fall off, it pulls out of the ignition and the sea-doo stops literally dead in its tracks, so that one, it doesn't run you over, and two, you're not stranded by yourself in the middle of the water with no boat to get back onto, right? So those don't, like, this is like a fishing motor on, like a fishing boat motor on this little dinghy. They don't have the kill switches. So the fact that she had the key on a kill switch on a boat that doesn't normally have a kill switch is interesting. But then why would this stepfather husband to Lynette make up a part of the story that so obviously wouldn't be accurate? It's cover up onto why he couldn't get there to faster to her, perhaps. It's very curious. Very curious. Listen to this, and then I'm going to play you another clip that's pretty concerning.
So much of it doesn't make any sense to me, especially the whole business about the keys, because anybody who's ever been in a boat before knows an outboard doesn't have keys. It's a little stern drive on an 8-foot tender. You don't have keys.
You have kill switch. If that, some do, some don't. But
yeah, in fact, I think the only kill switches I've seen recently are on a really small tender, maybe even smaller than 8 feet, or like a jet ski or something where you're going fast and the risk of bouncing off is regular, and you're usually a sole passenger.
And you know what?
Who's ever been in a boat before knows that an outboard doesn't have keys. It's a little stern drive on an 8-foot tender. You don't have keys.
You have kill switch. If that, some do, some don't. But
yeah.
Okay, let's just recap. As they said, it's called a kill switch. You don't have a key. He also reports that she just bounced out of the boat. Ashley finds that suspicious. So let's go through the recapping of the timeline, the red flags, and then I'm going to get to my remote viewing. I haven't even started yet, so I have zero idea what I'm going to see. So first, the night of the disappearance, Saturday, 7:30 p.m., Brian and Lynette depart Hopetown for Elbow Cay in an 8-foot hard-bottom dinghy. Now, there were, at the end of Ashley's interview, they referenced there were places on the island at the marina that they could have taken shelter on. But instead, they take their little dinghy to their yacht in these supposed very harsh conditions, according to Brian, the stepdad of Lynette's daughter and husband of 25 years to Lynette. and they head towards their yacht called Soulmate, which is anchored nearby. And they're just going to go boat to boat. And Brian claims it was unpredictable seas and high winds and caused Lynette to just fall overboard. Well, she bounced off the boat overboard and took the key, the kill switch. That doesn't really make sense with her, which is his reasoning as to why he can't get to her. It's because she's holding the key when she went over and the engine immediately shuts off. Well, red flag number 1. An experienced sailor of 10 years falls overboard in rough water while holding the only key? That's the detail that stops me cold. Brian claims strong currents swept her away before he could reach her. He then paddled the dinghy back to shore alone. Okay. Red flag 2, the timeline. He left at 7:30 p.m. and he arrived at March Harbor Boat Yard at 4 a.m. What? 8.5 hours later, he didn't call 911 from the water. He paddles back and then told a person at the marina, who then called the police. What? Daughter Carly says, he said, my mom's missing. She fell out of the boat and then he threw her a life jacket to her or something. Well, we saw the preserver and he doesn't know if she got it or not. Okay. Red flag 3, the daughter's instinct. Carly says her mother was a 10-year sailor and was a strong swimmer, and she doesn't understand how this could happen, calling for a full, complete investigation. Well, you're going to hear another clip in a minute. I'm heartbroken over the recent boating accident, says Brian's public statement just yesterday prior to his arrest. I'm heartbroken over the recent boating accident in unpredictable seas and high winds that caused my beloved Lynette to fall from our small dinghy. Nothing about let's find her. Nothing. The language heartbroken over the recent boat accident reads like a press release, not a husband, right? Like, not like, my God, we can't find my wife. Help me find her. What? So those are things that are not lining up. And clearly, since he's been arrested, since Ashley posted this last night, authorities don't believe it either. But let's listen to a clip that's the most disturbing of all. And then I'm going into my remote viewing, I promise. Let's listen. I just wanted to show you before I go back to reporting this last clip that I really want you to hear before I get into my remote viewing. There's their route that they were traveling on. And yeah, there was shelter on the mainland. So why wouldn't they have stayed there? It makes no sense. And the other thing, if you go to the mainland, why would you not bring your phone? And so why wouldn't he have called 911 instead of trying to find her, so he claims, and paddling back from 7:30 till the next morning? Why didn't you call 911? Because you don't tell me you went to land and you didn't bring your cell phone? Come on. Now listen to this. This is incredibly disturbing. Okay?
Carly says, I do believe something might have happened to her. Not only that, but Carly Aylesworth also told Fox and Friends, quote, I've seen him choke out one of his daughters before. And he had to go to court for that. I was only in 3rd grade, end quote. Again, this is Brian Hooker's stepdaughter, Carly Aylesworth, whose mother is now missing, right? Brian's wife, Carly's mom, now missing, with this weird story about falling out of the 8-foot dinghy on the way out to the yacht, and the current swept her away, and oh no, I paddled into Marsh Harbor. She also says that when Brian drank alcohol, his persona would change. She said, quote, he starts to act more like a more smart assy and more picking at you. And like, I know this will irritate you, so I'm going to do that type of attitude. That's what Carly Aylesworth said about her stepfather, Brian Hooker.
Okay, y'all. Now it's time for the remote viewing. I promised I'm going to record like a minute of my meditation. I'm not going to bore you with the 15, 20 minutes into my meditation, and then I'll press record again when I start to see things. Let's go. Okay. Sort of out of it. Sorry. Here's what I got. I set the intention that I want to see when they get in the boat from Hope Town out to where they have it docked in the Elbow Cay in the Bahamas. I immediately am taken to a vision of them at the dock and the dinghies below, and they are drunk. In fact, I see Lynette bending down and she almost falls forward, like off the dock, like she's pretty wobbly. He's drinking as well. So that's a flash. And then I'm getting it. I'm on the dinghy. Okay, goosebumps. I'm on the dinghy. I actually can still feel it now. I don't see anything, but I feel the waves. I feel the waves. We're going against the current. And Brian's being kind of reckless. It is bouncy. It is bouncy. And I hear Lynette say, slow down. And then I hear Brian say, shut up, Lynette. And she goes overboard. I don't physically see him push her, but I think he did. I don't physically see him push her, but I think he did. But I don't know why I don't see it. Let me see if I can get back in and get that specific moment. God, I can feel it. Okay, there's a fight. There's definitely a fight. And there's a fight. And actually, one of them they're standing in this little boat now. And he's, yes, pushing her over. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. That boat was solid enough to stand in it. That's what I see. Whoa. Okay. Thank you for being here. Sorry. But yeah, I spy with my third eye. A fight. They're drunk. Lynette, I can feel the waves. Tells him to slow down, and he tells her to shut up. They stand up. There's a fight, and she gets pushed. I don't know that this was pre-planned, but this is what I'm getting. Thank you for being here. Do all the YouTubey things. Love and light. And welcome to all our new subscribers, as well as those of you who've been with me from the beginning and everyone in between. Thank you.